The silver Mercedes was parked in my driveway. I recognized the vanity plate, "Sold Bison," before I even saw the woman on my front porch. Susan Martinez, the top realtor in Oceanside, stood with her tablet and her professional smile, nodding as my mother gestured enthusiastically at the house. My beach house. I pulled my Honda to the curb across the street and killed the engine. Through the windshield I could see my brother Eric and his wife Amanda walking the perimeter with a measuring tape. My father stood by the mailbox, arms crossed, surveying the property like he was calculating its worth. My phone buzzed. A text from my attorney Patricia, ETA 8 minutes. Don't engage until we arrive. I texted back a thumbs up and settled in to watch. Mom was in full performance mode, her hands animated as she spoke. Susan was taking notes, occasionally snapping photos of the exterior. Eric pointed at the deck, saying something that made Susan nod and type more notes. They were really doing it. Actually listing my house for sale. The absurd thing was I'd known this was coming. Eric had texted the family group chat 3 days ago. Great news. Found a buyer willing to pay over asking for the beach house. Meeting with Realtor Friday to finalize listing. This is going to change everything for us. I'd responded with a simple question mark. Eric had replied, the beach house obviously. Time to cash in. Market is insane right now. I'd typed and deleted 5 different responses before settling on, let's talk before you do anything. But Eric had never called. And now here they were 48 hours later with a realtor taking listing photos. A black Audi pulled up behind my car. Patricia emerged first, followed by her associate Marcus, both carrying leather briefcases. Patricia was in her signature red suit. She called it her litigation armor. I got out of my car and met them on the sidewalk. They're really going through with it? Patricia asked, eyeing the scene across the street. Apparently. Have they seen you yet? No. They're too focused on their plans. Marcus pulled out his phone. County records show you purchased the property 5 years ago. Clean title, no liens, current on all taxes. There's no ambiguity here, Natalie. My family is excellent at creating ambiguity where none exists, I said. Patricia straightened her blazer. Ready. Let's do this. We crossed the street together, our footsteps on the pavement drawing no attention until we were halfway up the driveway. Eric saw us first, his measuring tape going slack. Natalie, what are you doing here? Mom turned, her welcoming smile freezing when she saw the 2 attorneys flanking me. Oh, honey. I wasn't expecting you today. Clearly. I gestured at Susan, who was lowering her tablet with a confused expression. Want to explain why there's a realtor photographing my house? Your house. Eric laughed. Natalie, come on. This is the family beach house. We've all been using it for years. Using it, yes. Owning it, no. I turned to Susan. Susan Martinez, right? You're about to list this property? Susan glanced between me and my mother. Yes, I'm preparing a listing for the Martinez family. My name is Chin. Natalie Chin. And this property isn't for sale. I'm confused, Susan said carefully. Mrs. Martinez said this was family property and she had authority to sell. Mrs. Martinez was mistaken. Patricia stepped forward, extending her business card. Patricia Reeves, property attorney. I represent Ms. Chin, the sole legal owner of this property. Any attempt to list or sell it would be fraudulent. The color drained from Mom's face. Natalie, don't do this. Don't do what? Prevent you from selling my house without my knowledge or consent. Eric's face flushed red. This is ridiculous. The family has been using this house for years. Dad helped with the down payment. Dad gave me $20,000 as a gift 5 years ago, I interrupted. For my 30th birthday. I used it as part of my down payment when I purchased this property for $780,000. The remaining $156,000 down payment came from my savings. I have a mortgage in my name alone which I've been paying for 5 years. I have 5 years of property tax records in my name. The deed is in my name. Marcus handed Susan a folder. Complete ownership documentation. County records, deed, title insurance, mortgage records, tax payments, all showing Natalie Chin as the sole owner. Susan opened the folder, her professional composure cracking as she scanned the documents. Mrs. Martinez, you told me you owned this property. It's a family property, Mom insisted, her voice rising. We all use it. Natalie lives here. Of course her name would be on some paperwork. Her name is on the deed, Marcus said firmly. That's not paperwork. That's ownership. Amanda found her voice. But we've been planning our whole future around this sale. Eric's business expansion depends on our share of the proceeds. Your share of what proceeds? I asked. You can't sell a house you don't own. The family owns it. Eric shouted. We all contributed. We helped you paint it, we bought furniture. You bought furniture for my house as a housewarming gift, I said. That doesn't give you ownership stake. Dad finally spoke up, his voice weary. Natalie, be reasonable. We're family. This house should benefit all of us. I've let all of you use it for 5 years, I said. Free of charge. I've never asked any of you to contribute to the mortgage, property taxes, insurance, or maintenance. You've had full access. That's pretty beneficial. But you never told us you owned it. Mom's eyes were filling with tears now. You let us think it was family property. I told you I bought a house. I invited you to visit. You assumed it was somehow communal property because you wanted it to be. Susan was backing toward her car. I need to make some calls. This listing cannot proceed if there's a dispute over ownership. There's no dispute, Patricia said. There's clear ownership and an attempt by non-owners to sell someone else's property. That's fraud, not a dispute. I did not commit fraud. Mom protested. I genuinely believed. You believed what you wanted to believe, I said. Biz, you never asked. In 5 years not one of you asked who owned this house. You just used it and assumed. Eric stepped toward me, his face contorted with anger. You're really going to do this? Humiliate us in front of the realtor? Make us look like idiots? You're doing that on your own, I said. I'm just correcting the record before you commit actual fraud by listing my property. Susan was at her car now. Mr. and Mrs. Martinez, I'll need to speak with my broker about this. We can't proceed with a listing without clear title and proper authorization from the legal owner. She got in her Mercedes and drove away quickly. After she left, my family stood in my driveway looking shell-shocked. I don't understand, Mom said quietly. Why didn't you tell us you owned it? I did tell you. When I bought it. I said, I bought a beach house in Oceanside. You were all at my housewarming party. But you never asked about the details because you were too busy enjoying having beach access. But we thought, Amanda started. You thought wrong, Patricia interjected. And now you've learned that assumptions don't create ownership rights. What happens now? Dad asked. I looked at my family, all of them angry, embarrassed, confused. 5 years of using my house without question, and now outrage that I wouldn't let them sell it. Now you leave, I said simply. This is my property. You're not welcome here anymore. You're banning us from the beach house? Eric's voice cracked. Over this. Over you trying to sell my house, I corrected. Yes. Mom started crying in earnest now. Natalie, please. We made a mistake. We didn't understand. You understood enough to contact a realtor. You understood enough to make plans for your share of the money. You understood enough to measure rooms and take photos. You just didn't understand that you don't own it. Because you never made it clear. I bought the house. I pay the bills. My name is on everything. How much clearer could I have been? Amanda pulled out her phone. We've told people. We've promised the buyers. What buyers? Marcus asked sharply. Eric's business partner. He was going to buy our share of the house once it's sold. He's already lined up financing based on our promise. Then Eric needs to explain to his business partner that he promised to sell something he doesn't own, Patricia said. That's Eric's problem, not Ms. Chen's. My business will collapse without that capital, Eric said desperately. Natalie, I need this money. We've been counting on it. You've been counting on money from selling my house, I said. That was always fantasy, Eric. Not reality. He looked at Dad. Do something. You're her father. Make her be reasonable. Dad shook his head slowly. I gave her $20,000 5 years ago. That's all I contributed. If Natalie says she owns the house, she owns it. How can you just accept this? Eric demanded. Because it's true, Dad said quietly. We should have asked questions. We should have verified. We didn't. That's on us. Mom turned to me, her face desperate. What if we paid you back? For all the years we used it? Would you let us stay then? Market rate for this house as a vacation rental is about $500 a night, Marcus said helpfully. If your family used it, say 30 days a year for 5 years, that's $75,000 in rental value. Mom's face went pale. I don't want your money, I said. I want you to leave my property and stop trying to sell it. And then what? Eric asked. We just never see you again. Never use the beach house again. That's up to you, I said. You can apologize, accept this is my house, and maybe we can rebuild someday. Or you can keep acting like you can sell it, and lose me completely. That's not a choice, Mom cried. That's an ultimatum. You gave me an ultimatum, I said. When you hired a realtor without asking me. You just didn't know I could say no. Patricia checked her watch. Miss Chen, we should go inside and change the locks. They have keys. Already done, I said. Eric pulled out his key and tried the door. It didn't work. He tried again, shaking it. You already changed them? Last night, I said. After you texted about the realtor. Amanda looked shocked. You knew and let us embarrass ourselves? I gave you chances to call me, I said. You didn't. You brought a realtor instead. We didn't think you'd mind. Eric shouted. You didn't think at all, I said. That's the problem. Marcus handed me some papers. Cease and desist letters, he said. If they try to enter, contact realtors, or claim ownership, we'll take legal action. I gave the papers to Dad. Make sure everyone reads these. He took them quietly. He looked tired, older. I need to go inside, I said. I have work to do. You need to leave. Just like that. Mom said. 5 years of family memories. Gone? You tried to sell my house, I said. That's not a memory. That's theft. They left slowly, 3 cars disappearing down the road. I stood by the window, in my house. Patricia and Marcus stayed another hour. They documented everything, set up extra legal protections. They might fight this, Patricia said. Say they had some verbal agreement. Let them try, I said. I have 5 years of mortgage and tax records in my name. They have nothing but assumptions. When they left, I walked through my house. The house I bought. The house I paid for, decorated and cared for. The house my family used for free and never once thanked me for. My phone buzzed. Mom, please reconsider. We're family. Eric, you're selfish. This proves it. Amanda, you're ruining Eric's business over pride. I turned off my phone. I stepped onto my deck. The ocean stretched endlessly, calm and blue. This was why I bought the house. Peace, quiet space. Not for family visits. Not as an investment. For me. The property papers told the truth my family refused to see. Mom told the realtor it was family property. My lawyers showed it wasn't. The records made it clear. The house was mine. It had always been mine. No guilt, no expectation, no manipulation could change that. Sometimes the best thing you can do is own what's yours, and never apologize for it. Even when family believes your property is theirs to sell.